Have you ever met someone who loves to argue? Well, that's Juliana Martinez. She says it's fun because she gets to communicate her feelings across to other people while also listening to what the other person has to say. And she also uses it as a form of entertainment. Now, today I'll be introducing Juliana Martinez. She has many hobbies and loves to do many things, but today I'll only be discussing three. Now, her three interests include reading books, collecting records, and rating movies. Now, let's start off with Juliana's love of books. Juliana has loved to read books ever since she was a small child. Growing up, she would go to the library every Monday with her grandmother, and her mom also had her do 30 minutes of reading a day. And she loved her 30 minutes because she got to read her favorite books like Junie B. Jones. At the age of 8, Junie B. Jones was her favorite book because she loved the thrill of seeing the story unfold like a movie. Now, Junie B. Jones is a series about a girl who loves thrill and adventure, but her love for adventure often gets her in trouble. Now, as Juliana got older, she started to read in her free time, and by the time she was in middle school, she would often read at least 2 books a day. And her new favorite series in middle school was Twilight. She loved Twilight because it had elements of fantasy and romance, and it just brought her so much happiness throughout her early teenage years. Now, Juliana's a sophomore at Fresno State. She is majoring in political science and blames it on her love for reading. And when she was younger, she wanted to be an attorney or a lawyer, and as of now, she still wants to do something in that field. However, she also wants to branch out a little more with her political science degree in the future. Now, moving on to her collection of records. Now, Juliana has a good number of records. She has more than 100 records in her collection, and the main reason she collects records is because of her dad. Now, her dad had once gifted her an original copy of the Beatles album called Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and her love of records began with her dad, so every time she buys a record, she thinks of her dad and the love that they both share with music. Now she goes and buys a record every chance she gets in order to expand her collection, and she loves music. I think she could talk about it for hours. It's one of her passions. And she loves every genre of music, but she expressed that her favorite genre is 80s music, specifically the album Songs from the Big Chair by Tears for Fears. Lastly is her hobby of rating movies. Now, Juliana loves movies and loves the whole process of making a film. She has a collection for her favorite movies as well, and romance movies were always her favorite, both to watch and to rate, along with her favorite director, Quentin Tarantino. She loves to rate his movies as well. And she also loves the work that goes on behind the scenes. She enjoys watching premieres and interviews of new movies that interest her. She also loves the idea of rating movies. She likes how it involves everything from the cinematography to the casting and the soundtrack and everything else in between, from giving detailed reviews and reading them. And she also seems very passionate about the whole topic, including the topic of having more women directors in the industry. Today I had the wonderful opportunity to introduce you to Juliana Martinez. She loves many things, but more specifically to read books, collect records, and rate movies. Now, her favorite book is Just Kids by Patti Smith, so if you've read it, you will become best friends. She'd love to have a conversation with you someday. And if you want any recommendations on 80s music or just music in general, she'd love to give you a recommendation. Or you can just have a conversation about your favorite music within that genre or just music in general.